I'm Hazel, a 30-year-old system engineer. Nathan and I, good friends from college, reconnected 3 years ago and eventually tied the knot. Despite Nathan's occasional dictatorial tendencies, his cheerful demeanor drew me in, especially amidst work fatigue. When he proposed we move in together a year into our relationship, I eagerly agreed, craving more time together. However, his mother intervened, insisting we marry first before cohabiting. Though I respected her perspective to some extent, I found it unsettling how Nathan readily adhered to her advice. Ultimately, we chose marriage, driven by our love, but the interference didn't stop there. My mother-in-law began meddling in our housing decisions, insisting it be close to her and Nathan's workplace, even pushing for us to buy a house. Feeling suffocated, I confronted her, asserting our autonomy and deciding our future. While I appreciated her concern, I emphasized the importance of us making our own choices. However, her response was dismissive, implying my parents' lack of involvement stemmed from apathy. It felt condescending, especially when she referenced their professions, insinuating a discrepancy in care based on career paths. Yet, I never aspired to follow in my parents' footsteps as doctors. My parents never told me to become a doctor. I never imagined that someone, my husband's mother, would say such things to me. When I was stunned and kept mute, my husband told my mother-in-law, "Mom, that's enough." But my mother-in-law did not like the fact that my husband protected me. I became grumpy there. She never talked again. I've always thought that my mother-in-law and I don't get along personality-wise. After that, my mother-in-law's and my opinions remained at odds. My husband, on the other hand, strives to present a positive face on both sides. Thus, there were no answers. Finally, my husband located a new condominium for us. It was convenient for both my husband and my work, as well as close to my in-laws' residence. I was beginning to feel terrible for my husband, who was caught between me and my mother-in-law. I was also becoming fatigued. I didn't want to prolong the problem. We decided on purchasing the condo that my husband had worked so hard to find for us. My mother-in-law grudgingly backed out when my father-in-law cautioned her about it. Nonetheless, she was disappointed that it wasn't a house. We spent the majority of our savings on a down payment for the condominium. We were pleased with the new location's convenience, nevertheless, but the conflict between my mother-in-law and me had only just begun. My mother-in-law has constantly intervened in various ways. I quickly understood that she had been reserved before we married. She began sending me these texts on a daily basis shortly after our wedding. "Are the grandchildren here yet? When are you going to quit your job?" The emotional pressure was so severe that I discussed it with my husband. "I don't believe Mom intends any harm. This is what my spouse told me." I discovered that my husband was untrustworthy when it came to my mother-in-law. I assured my mother-in-law that we would decide what to do with the children on our own, and I assured her that I was not going to quit my job. She then sobbed to my husband. "I'm trying to do what's best for her, but she refuses to listen." Hazel must have disliked me from the start. She is paranoid. My spouse does not totally believe my mother-in-law, but she is a sensitive individual, so please be a little gentler with her. That is what my spouse said. I realized he doesn't know his own mother. I mean, how could she be so sensitive when she was so determined to get her point across? I was so fired up that I resolved to avoid my mother-in-law. Whenever she mentioned something to me, I would respond, "Please ask my husband," but I didn't think I could live with it indefinitely. Then my supervisor informed me about an international assignment. I really wanted to go, and I asked my husband to allow me to go. He was hesitant at first, but I didn't give up trying to convince him. "Honey, when I return, I will make an effort to improve my connection with your mother." I ultimately persuaded him, even if it was only for a year, and I was overjoyed with the opportunity. 6 months had flown by, and my career was flourishing, offering a fulfilling experience. Unexpectedly, I received a call from a long-lost acquaintance, Ellie from our college days. It was a pleasant surprise, yet her reason for reaching out left me bewildered. Ellie dropped a bombshell. She claimed to be dating Nathan, my husband. Her revelation struck me like a bolt of lightning. Nathan had allegedly ended our relationship, and Ellie urged me not to resist if he pursued a divorce. I was dumbfounded, trying to comprehend the gravity of her words. As Ellie unraveled her story, I recalled faint rumors from our college days about her affection for Nathan. However, I had long dismissed them, assuming they were just idle chatter. But Ellie confessed that she had harbored feelings for Nathan since college, although he was in a relationship at the time. When she learned of our separation and my overseas assignment, Ellie seized the opportunity to pursue Nathan aggressively. Despite my disbelief, she claimed that Nathan succumbed to her advances and had an affair with her. Offering me alimony, Ellie demanded that I leave Nathan for good. Ellie's unexpected boldness and persistence had evidently swayed Nathan, driving a wedge between us. It was a shocking revelation, leaving me grappling with a whirlwind of emotions and uncertainties about my future. Wait a minute, I am still perplexed. This is too much to take in. I need time to figure things out, okay? Ellie was still saying something, but I ended the call. I received this impression from the phone call. Ellie was quite attached to my husband. If I believe Ellie's account, she and my husband are having an affair. However, I felt it was dangerous to believe Ellie's stories without hearing from my husband. In the meantime, I will contact my spouse after I have had a chance to make up my decision. I thought so, but I misjudged Ellie's feelings for him. Ellie then provided me with the audio data. When I listened to it, I realized that my husband wanted to divorce me and remarry Ellie. I also obtained additional evidence of the affair, including compromising images of the two. Ellie and my husband appeared to be quite close, literally. There were also records of their discussions, including those with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law had always been opposed to me traveling overseas. Naturally, Mom wanted me to divorce Nathan and marry Ellie again. Their discourse was full of negative comments about me. During that time, I realized I had no choice but to divorce my spouse. However, in order to do so, I needed to return home for the legalities, but I was very busy at work and couldn't take the time off exactly when I was in trouble. My spouse called me. I answered the phone nervously. "Hello, I'm Kala. I filed for divorce." "What?" "And I'll take the house. You can continue to work there even if you return. You will not have a house anymore, okay?" This unexpected turn of events left me speechless. "What do you mean, you filed for divorce? Isn't that absurd?" My husband's statements surprised me at first, but at the same time, I felt happy. Ellie wouldn't send me any more photos or audio files. My mind was fatigued by the facts that had been piling up and couldn't be erased because they were evidence of their affair. As I realized the emails would cease, relief washed over me. "Okay, I understand. So we're going through with the divorce, right?" "I'm fine with that," I responded eagerly and cheerfully, catching my spouse off guard. "Are you sure about this?" he questioned, clearly upset. "Yes, I'm sure," I affirmed. Amidst some rustling on the other end of the line, I overheard my spouse speaking to someone. I assumed it was Ellie, but to my surprise, it was my mother-in-law. "Hi, Hazel. It's been a while," she greeted me. "As you've presumably heard from Nathan, we're already in the process of divorcing, and you have no place to return to." My spouse echoed her sentiments. Despite my desire to interject, I remained silent, allowing my mother-in-law to unleash her grievances. She blamed me for the divorce, criticizing my decision to work abroad and advising against having children sooner. It was clear she had no intention of listening to my perspective. But in that moment, I had an epiphany. I was divorced from my husband, so I owed nothing to his mother. I no longer had to endure her meddling in my life. With newfound clarity, I politely excused myself from the conversation, asserting my right to move on. "Sorry, may I leave now?" I interjected, sensing her disapproval. "I'm busy. I'll get off the phone now," I stated firmly, ignoring her attempts to keep me on the line. As she continued to speak, I disconnected the call, feeling liberated from her influence. With the decision made, I felt a sense of relief. Though I still cared for my ex-husband, I knew staying married was not an option. However, the story didn't end there. 3 months later, my ex-husband's incessant calls raised concern. I realized something must be wrong if he was reaching out so persistently. I chose to answer the phone. "Hazel, thank God. What is it? You've called a lot. I need you." For a second, I couldn't understand what my ex-husband was saying. I only understood that I shouldn't answer the phone. "We can start over. It isn't too late." "What do you mean, it is not too late? You haven't filed for divorce?" "I did, but why don't we marry again?" I tried not to laugh. Actually, my ex-husband has no idea that I am aware of his infidelity. "Married again? You married Ellie, right?" "What? How did you know?" "Ellie gave me a photo of the two of you with the marriage certificate." "Don't tell me you and Ellie are already divorced." "What? No, not yet. They have not divorced yet. So I suppose that is true, because Ellie was really enamored with you. I doubt she would consent to divorce you that quickly after all. So all you have to do is file for divorce, right? I'm telling you that it's a bad idea. So what am I supposed to do? Why can't you just be happy with Ellie? She seems to get along well with your mother. Above all, she loves you, doesn't she?" I had a lot of negative things to say about my cheating ex-husband, but I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. I do not want to be with her anymore. That is impossible. Ellie cheated on me. "Deceived? What do you mean?" I questioned my ex-husband. He believed that marrying Ellie would provide him with a large sum of money. I had a fairly decent idea about the money. Ellie showed me how much money she was saving to be with me, but as soon as we married, she said she didn't have it since she had used it to marry me. Yeah, that's the alimony arrangement for me and Nathan. I explained patiently to him. It seemed he didn't quite grasp the concept, so I elaborated. You see, Ellie has generously offered to provide me with a significant alimony payment. Nathan seemed puzzled by this revelation, prompting me to clarify. It's a gesture of her affection towards you. I reassured him, genuinely touched by Ellie's gesture. Ever since she reached out to me, she made it clear that if I were to divorce you, she'd ensure I was financially supported. At first, I was skeptical of her intentions, but when she followed through after our divorce, depositing $60,000 into my bank account, I was taken aback. After multiple attempts to contact her for clarification, Ellie remained firm in her stance. Take the money but stay away from Nathan. Feeling conflicted, I sought advice from a friend who suggested accepting the offer, especially since we hadn't yet divided our assets. It wasn't the substantial sum I might have pursued through a legal battle, but it was still a significant amount. Deciding not to involve my ex-husband, I accepted Ellie's offer despite feeling uneasy about it. However, when Nathan demanded the money back, I realized the gravity of the situation. Just as I was about to respond, Ellie intervened, her voice surprising us both. Nathan abruptly ended the call, leaving me in disbelief. Subsequent conversations with classmates revealed Ellie's conservative nature and her reaction to the alimony revelation. It appeared her relationship with my ex-mother-in-law had soured, leading to strained interactions with Nathan. Reflecting on the situation, I couldn't help but feel grateful for my decision to leave the country. Accepting an offer to extend my overseas assignment from 1 to 3 years, I embraced the opportunity to focus on my career and live a fulfilling life away from the drama.